Pop quiz. Do you know the heaviest instrument in the world? I'll give you a little hint. It has something to do with the keyboard. In this episode of 10 Minutes, I sat down with a musician who could play one of the heaviest instruments in the world. How did you get into the profession that you're in?
Well, my dad is a Carillonneur also. So I'm originally from Belgium, growing up in Belgium, and I've been climbing towers since day one, so to speak. You have to imagine when you're 4 or 5 years old and you get an opportunity to climb medieval towers with hundreds of steps and secret doors, giant clockworks and bats and owls and all that stuff. You're so fascinated.
Wow.
And I knew from the beginning I wanted to do this too. Wow. So I asked my dad, and I got lucky. He was a professor at the Royal Carillon School in Belgium.
Okay.
So he took me along, and that's how it all began.
Wow. So you were 5.
I was 5 when I started climbing towers. I was 13 when I combined high school and the Royal Carillon School.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you have to have special musical talent before you start playing the carillon?
Well, it's easy if you can read notes or play another musical instrument. I played piano.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
then after my studies at the Carillon School, I went to the Royal Conservatory and did a lot of other stuff. Piano playing, composing, conducting orchestras, conducting choirs, chamber music, you name it. I stayed for almost 12 years.
So talk to me about when you first came to Bok Tower.
Well, so I graduated from the Carillon School in Belgium when I was 17. And my dad, at that point, told me, I'm going to show you the most beautiful instrument in the world. And he flew me from Brussels, Belgium, straight to Bok Tower. So, I mean, and if you think about other instruments, they're always in the middle of cities. They're in high churches or high buildings, on campuses, universities. But this is like paradise. The location was so unique. I played it, and I immediately fell in love with the instrument, with the surroundings, with the gardens, everything. Not knowing, when I was 17, that one day this would be my instrument.
Now, for people who are listening or watching and they don't know what a carillonneur is,
Okay.
because I didn't know what it was.
A carillonneur is the lucky guy that plays the heaviest instrument in the world.
Okay.
So it's a set of bells. In our case, Bok Tower, we have 60 bells. And the total weight is 62 tons, which is insanely heavy. Mm-hmm. When it was built in 1927, 28, it was the heaviest instrument in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. And it has a keyboard, not like a piano keyboard. It is fully chromatic, but you play it with your fists instead of your fingers because it's just physically too heavy.
Mm.
And that's
Has
it.
anybody ever been able to play that last note or that heavy?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Who?
Yeah. Everybody.
Just not you?
Yeah. No.
You could do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Oh my God.
just like a piano, you can play almost anything from Bach and Mozart to Lady Gaga and Prince.
Have you
and
played pop music on?
Oh, yeah.
And did your dad play here ever?
Well, no, you play here on invitation.
Okay.
So he did play before, but he knew the instrument. And when I played, they invited me over 2 years later, again, to play and to be part of the series.
Wow.
And carillon festivals that we still organize.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, every time when I got something in my mail, like you're invited for Bok Tower Gardens, it was my
You would
year.
hop on
My
the
year was
plane.
good. My year was good.
That's awesome.
Everybody knows everybody. It's such a small world. I mean, there are carillonneurs, only maybe 400 worldwide.
Mm.
So it's a happy family.
Do you know all of them?
Until there's a tower available, and then it's competition.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially this one. Only the 4th carillonneur in 90 years of history. So that means when you have this tower, you don't want to let go anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll stay here for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, we all know each other. We have congresses and stuff, and
Wow.
yeah.
So did they call you and say, "Hey, there's an opening"? How did that work out? Talk to
Yeah,
me about that process.
they called me, basically said like, okay, do you want to come over for a couple of months and play? We're looking for a carillonneur. You could be the interim, and let's go from there.
Earlier, you were telling me that you have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You have 3 kids, and your daughter, the youngest one,
yes.
she is also following in your footsteps.
Yes.
So how did you introduce this wonderful instrument to her?
Well, she lives in Belgium, and half of the instrument worldwide are back there, are in Belgium and in Holland.
Mm-hmm.
So she knew about the carillon, and she asked me, can I go to the carillon school? I didn't have to ask her.
Wow.
So I'm like, are you kidding me?
Are you sure you didn't
please?
nudge her just a
Well,
little bit?
a little
as she
bit, but,
okay, because that's what parents
she
do.
forgot. No, and the same as what I experienced. She was 4 or 5 years old. I took her everywhere when I was performing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's fun. Last summer I went to Europe, performed in Spain, in southern France, in Ireland, in Belgium, in Holland. And if you take your kids there, they're like, oh my God, now we go to Spain and now we go to Ireland.
For
and,
sure.
So
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah. So what kind of training goes behind playing this instrument? Do you have to go to a special school?
Yeah, so we have a couple of schools in Europe. There's one in Belgium, there's one in Holland, and there's one in France.
Mm-hmm.
And here in universities, you can, here in the US, you could study at in different universities. I was University Carillonneur in Berkeley, at California, for a couple of years, and so I had students there.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it in Michigan, Ann Arbor, Ames, Iowa.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
very
it's
different
basically
places.
everywhere, almost,
Well, no.
Kind of?
There are
Okay.
only about 200 instruments in the States,
in the United States.
and it's a big
Okay.
country.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
There are
And-
only like 4 in Florida.
Hmm.
But there's one in Gainesville at the university where
Huh.
where you can study it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many of these instruments are in Europe? Is it more popular in Europe than?
It's half of the instrument, there are 600 instruments. Half of the instruments are in the Low Countries in Europe, which is
Okay.
Holland and Belgium. Now, those 2 countries are half the size of Massachusetts.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
back there, you can take a bicycle, and every 15 minutes, you hit a carillon.
Ah. Okay.
And so that's why everybody knows what the instrument is back
Okay.
there.
Back.
But then, for example, there's only one in Ireland. There's only one in Spain. There are none in Greece, nothing in Italy. A couple in Russia. I mean, it's really like this tiny little region, Belgium and Holland, where it
Mhm.
started also.
And that's where it started.
500 years ago.
Got
yes.
it. So you said there's 600 of them worldwide?
Worldwide, yeah.
Okay. And where are you placed worldwide? A little birdie told me that you're like the big shot in the industry.
Well, I got lucky, first of all, and my dad was a really good mentor and professor. And then I got lucky again with this place.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
That's
This is an awesome place to work. Yeah.
And so it's not even work for you. They say that
No.
if you come to
No.
if you enjoy what you do, it's not work.
No, I'm glad they pay me, but they didn't have to. I didn't tell David that when he hired me. But
Oh my goodness. So for people or kids out there, whoever is interested in learning how to play this instrument, what advice do you have for them?
Try to do other musical instruments first.
Mhm.
Make sure you have a solid base, and then find the university. If you say like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna study, medicine. And then there are 2 universities. Well, if there's one university that has a carillon, then you can combine it, and you can do medicine and carillon at the same time.
Mm.
And so we have I'm doing master classes here.
Oh, okay.
And I have a lot of students that have nothing to do with music. They're physicists and they're doctors, and they're still studying, but they love to play the carillon. Yeah, so it's fun,
Interesting.
and it's flourishing. It's really more and more young kids take it up, and it's driving culture. It's wonderful.
If you couldn't do this as a job, if this was just taken away from you for whatever reason, what do you see yourself doing? Have you ever given that some thought?
Yeah, composing.
Okay.
Yeah, I do a lot of writing for carillon specific.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I need as much as I need to play the carillon. It's very creative process. So I'm usually on my piano, but I'm thinking bells.
This was fantastic. Now I want to go upstairs and maybe you can play a couple of notes.
Absolutely.
Is that great?
Yeah, I'll be happy to do this. Yeah.
All right, excellent.
There.
Beautiful.